The Tinkerer. She was definitely the epitome of a spooky old woman living alone in a big, dilapidated house on the outskirts of town. A weird loner. People used to call her the Tinkerer. She was a compulsive hoarder. She would often come to town and collect discarded items or bargain for odd things that people would have otherwise thrown away. It was considered bad luck to bargain with her, so people tried to avoid her. One day she left town accompanied by a blind beggar whose eyes had been poked out after being convicted of trespassing in the mayor's garden. They are probably a good match, weirdos and beggars, people said. Little did they know of what went on in the mysterious house. Little did they know about the Tinkerer's plans and talent. To say people were surprised when the Tinkerer showed up in town one random night would be an understatement. She wore a sparkling crown, and in her hand she held a long, jewel-encrusted scepter, surging with blue lightning. She dragged a small cart behind her on which a large, broken mirror was positioned. She was accompanied by the blind girl and a host of ghosts. The ghosts moved so fast and with such determination and precision that nobody had the chance to defend themselves against their deadly, chilling attacks. The small town was overwhelmed in a matter of minutes, with only the women and children spared. The Tinkerer giggled and patted the blind girl on the shoulder. "It's over. They're all dead," she said in a comforting voice. "Let's see if there is any loot for us to collect." She started searching the houses, greeting all she met with a smile and a curse. A few hours later, the entire town was under her spell, working to fuel her workshop with items that could be useful for her experiments. For a time, she was content with the loot and her considerable number of new servants, but the thought of all the riches that could also be collected in nearby towns drove her to the brink of madness. "We must find more," she said one day. "We must leave this place to find more loot." The blind girl nodded and prepared herself for a long quest that would take her further away from home than she had ever dreamed of.
This is the strategy tips for Tinkerer who's a Mist Necromancer. The special rule for the Tinkerer is when in the workshop, look at one extra card. You can pay for missed items with any resources instead of the cost specified on the card. She has power 2, which makes her a decent fighter. Yes, it is a she. And this is one of my favorite illustrations, this old hag tinkering in her workshop. The Tinkerer, she is a subtle necromancer in the often underestimated Mist school, in my opinion. The ability to look one deeper in the workshop deck is than other players is a great advantage in the duel against other players collecting Mist items, and in general. Not only can I see 4 items that might improve my own chances of a strong combo, but I can also choose to leave 3 items that my opponent cannot use. This is good in general, but it is extremely good in a 2-player game where I can basically shut down my opponent's access to the cards that he or she is collecting in the workshop. When I play the Tinkerer, I go straight for making those 3 items as soon as possible. If this is possible, you bank those 3 points towards the game early on and you're already far ahead towards Academy Headmaster. And then I try to base the rest of my game strategy on the items I have collected and the apprentice I have. However, I also have to say that I rarely take the Tinkerer without having a strong apprentice on the side. She does need a strong sidekick, but will work well with any of the missed apprentices, and also a lot of the other more specialized apprentices, such as the dungeon crawler and so forth. So now there's only one thing left to say. Enjoy playing an old hag in a workshop. Have an evil day.